Today we're starting a new series. You know how much I love to rank players, you know how much I love to tell you my opinions on them. It's gonna be doing a little bit of that. You click the video so you know what we're doing today. I'm gonna be giving you my top 10 pitchers of the 2010s. Taking a look at the entire decade, looking at who was the best pitcher, and then just breaking it down 1 through 10. Remember, to be the best pitcher of the 2010s, they have to have pitched well in the 2010s. I don't care about the player's performance prior to the year 2010 or after the year 2019, which technically hasn't happened yet. We're looking strictly at 2010 through 2019. As always, if you guys do enjoy these videos, make sure to leave a like on it. That's the best way to show your support. Subscribe if you're new and you enjoy the content. If you love baseball, click that sub button, join the team. Remember to get in the comment section down below. Let me know who you think should be in this top 10 that I maybe missed out on, or maybe just some players that have in the wrong spot. And of course, make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links are in the description down below. I'm always talking baseball over there. So with all these videos, I'm actually going to start off with the honorable mentions, because over a span of 10 years, it's tough to just make a top 10. So here are some guys that just missed out on the list. Garrett Cole just misses out. Had great years with Houston the last couple years, and towards the beginning of his career with Pittsburgh, he was actually really solid, just not enough dominant years for him to crack the top 10. David Price is one of the few pitchers that actually won a Cy Young award in this decade that's not going to be featured in the top 10. Dominant with Tampa Bay, but the last 4 seasons, he hasn't been the same kind of pitcher, just missing out on the top 10. Cole Hamels also misses out on the top 10. Really solid pitcher with Philadelphia, but never one of the best pitchers in the game. Never really one of the top 5 pitchers in the game, so it's tough to put him in this top 10. And then, of course, we have King Felix, who also won a Cy Young in this decade, but since 2015, he has been an average to below average pitcher, with the last couple seasons being really bad. As dominant as he was in the first half of the decade, I can't ignore how bad he was the second half. So getting our top 10 started, we have a very surprising choice. At number 10, I'm going with Johnny Cueto. Yes, you were hearing that correctly. Johnny Cueto is a top 10 pitcher of this past decade. Cueto has the 4th lowest ERA among starting pitchers in the 2010s, pitching in just over 1,500 innings with a 106 and 62 record and a whip at 1.146. Now, he's not the strikeout pitcher that a lot of these other guys on this list are going to be, but it's hard to deny the success he had in this decade. And if it wasn't for injuries the past couple seasons, Johnny Cueto's numbers would probably be even better, but he had 5 seasons in the 2010s with an ERA under 3. He finished in the top 5 of the Cy Young voting twice, and he finished in 6th in 2016 with the Giants. Overall, Johnny Cueto was one of the better pitchers of the 2010s, and even though it surprised me when I was doing my research, he deserves to be in this top 10, right at the number 10 spot. Coming in at number 9, we have the 2019 World Series MVP Steven Strasburg, who, similar to Cueto, has probably been a little bit underappreciated as a pitcher in the 2010s. Strasburg made his debut in 2010 with the Nationals after being a highly touted prospect, the #1 pick in the draft, and he had a decent start to his career. Of course, injuries have always been his biggest problem. When he's healthy, he's a great pitcher. When he's not healthy, gets a little bit shaky. But still, in the last 10 years, he has an ERA of 3.17, a whip of 1.086. He led the league in strikeouts in 2014, finished top 5 in the Cy Young voting once in 2017, a 112 and 58 record, just over 1,400 innings pitched, striking out 200 batters 3 times in those 10 years, and coming close 2 other times with 191 and 197 strikeouts in 2012 and 2013. He's a 3-time All-Star. Of course, he won the World Series MVP. He may not have the hardware that some of the other pitchers who didn't make this list have, but when you strictly look at the numbers, Steven Strasburg has been a top pitcher of the last decade. At the number 8 spot, we have New York Mets pitcher Jacob deGrom, who by far has thrown the least amount of innings out of anybody on this list, but in those 1,100 innings that he's thrown since 2014, Jacob deGrom has really been dominant. He has the 2nd lowest ERA among starting pitchers with a minimum of 1,000 innings in the 2010s at 2.62. He has the 3rd lowest whip at 1.053. He dominated last year in 2018, winning the Cy Young with one of the best pitching performances we've seen in the season. He's probably going to win the Cy Young again in 2019. It hasn't been announced. Rookie of the Year in 2014, fantastic season. Finished 7th in the Cy Young in 2015, 8th in 2017. His biggest knock is just that he hasn't had enough innings pitched to get him higher up on this list, but in the 6 seasons that he's played, he has been a dominant pitcher, there's no doubt, and that's what gets him in this top 10. Averages over 200 strikeouts a year, led the National League in strikeouts this past season. He's just absolutely a dominant pitcher, and it seems like he's only getting better as the years go on. deGrom is an absolute stud. He falls at the number 8 spot. For the 7th best pitcher of the 2010s, we go to one of the elder statesmen in today's video, Zack Greinke. Greinke's a weird case because he had one of his best seasons before 2010 in 2009 where he won the Cy Young, had a couple rough seasons after that, and then started to pick it up again and become a dominant pitcher once again. Greinke has the 10th lowest ERA at 3.18, the 8th lowest whip at 1.109. In the past decade, he's almost pitched in 2,000 innings, starting in 311 games, 155 and 70 record, striking out just under 2,000 batters at 1,872. He's a 5-time All-Star, 6-time Gold Glove Award winner in this decade. He had the lowest ERA in 2015 at 1.66, lowest whip at 0.844. He's been one of the more consistent pitchers of the last 10 years. Never really been the best pitcher in the game, but he's always consistently probably been in that top 10. So Zack Greinke, while you may not have thought about it, is definitely a top pitcher in the last 10 years. He falls at number 7. Coming in at number 6 on this list, we get started with our American League pitchers now. I'm going with with Corey Kluber of the Cleveland Indians. I feel like people forget about how good of a pitcher Corey Kluber's been in this past decade because he went down with an injury last year and only pitched in 7 games, and he plays in Cleveland. It's not a big market. But the guy's won 2 Cy Young Awards in the last 10 years, finished 3rd twice, and finished 9th in another year. From 2014 to 2018, he was one of the most dominant pitchers in baseball. Corey Kluber has the 8th lowest ERA among starting pitchers in the last 10 years at 3.16, and is tied with Steven Strasburg in WHIP at 1.086. In just over 1,300 innings, Corey Kluber has struck out almost 1,500 batters, walking only 292. The guy walks absolutely nobody. One of the better control pitchers in the game, along with having the strikeout ability that he has. Doesn't give up the long ball, doesn't walk guys, doesn't give up hits, strikes out a bunch of batters. He's a complete pitcher and probably could find his way higher up on this list, but because of his late start, really only got started in 2013, he finds his way up here on number 6. Getting the top 5 started at the number 5 position, you know him well. Like a fine wine, he only gets better with age. We have got Justin Verlander. Now originally when I made this list, I actually had Verlander at the number 3 spot, but upon further research, I bumped him down a couple spots. He's still disgusting though. Let's go over his numbers, they're crazy. Verlander has the 5th lowest ERA in the last 10 years among starting pitchers at 3.10, and he has the 5th lowest WHIP at 1.077. Now in terms of innings pitched, Verlander has it by a good margin. He's pitched almost 100 more innings than the next highest pitcher at 2,142 innings. In the last 10 years, he's thrown 20 complete games, 6 for shutouts, striking out 2,260 batters, which puts him 2nd among pitchers in this decade. He made the All-Star team 6 times, won the Cy Young and MVP in 2011. He's finished 2nd in the Cy Young voting 3 times, not including this year, which he'll probably finish 2nd again, and he finished 5th back in 2017. He's just an absolutely dominant pitcher. He struck out 300 batters this year at age 36, last year 290. He's led the league in strikeouts 4 times in the last 10 years, averaging well over 200 strikeouts a year. Justin Verlander's disgusting, getting the top 5 started at the number 5 spot. For the number 4 spot, this was one of the hardest guys to place in my opinion. We have Chris Sale, because ever since Chris Sale has come up, he's been unbelievably dominant. His first 2 seasons with the Chicago White Sox in 2010-11, he was a relief pitcher, but since 2012, he took over a starter role, and he's been so incredibly good, minus 2019, where he had injury problems. In the last decade, Chris Sale has the 2nd lowest WHIP at 1.035, the 3rd lowest ERA at 3.03. He's a 7-time All-Star, won the 2018 World Series with the Boston Red Sox. He's finished in the top 5 of the Cy Young voting 6 times in his career, 7 times inside the top 10. Pretty much ever since he's been a starting pitcher in the league, he's been one of the most dominant ones there is. He led the league in strikeouts twice in 2015 and 2017, doesn't walk any batters, has the best strikeout to walk ratio in baseball history at 5.37, good for 200 plus innings a year. I probably could have put him a little bit higher on this list, but the top 3 guys are just so incredibly good. I think that number 4 is the perfect spot for Chris Sale. Coming in at number 3, we have the best playoff pitcher in baseball history, Madison Bumgarner, who is also a very good pitcher in the regular season. It's just that the World Series and playoff performances are what's going to boost him up to number 3 for me, but he could probably fall anywhere from 3 to 5 in my opinion. So Madison Bumgarner, 7th lowest ERA among pitchers in the last 10 years at 3.14, and he has the 9th lowest WHIP at 1.111. In just over 1,800 innings, Madison Bumgarner is 119 and 92, striking out just under 1,800 batters, throwing 15 complete games, 6 for shutouts. Now Bumgarner may not have the awards that some of these other pitchers have. He may not have as many top 5 finishes as some other guys, but Madison Bumgarner has been really good in the regular season. 4 seasons with an ERA below 3. He's a 4-time All-Star, 3-time World Series champion, including a World Series and NLCS MVP, 2-time Silver Slugger. The guy can also swing the bat, and you wouldn't be able to get the full picture of how good Madison Bumgarner is until you talk about his postseason performance, because that's really where he shines. He was crucial in the 2010 World Series championship by the Giants, pitching in over 20 innings that postseason and only allowing 5 earned runs. 2012 was a little bit shaky, but even then, in the World Series, he stepped up big time, 7 innings, 2 hits, no runs allowed. Of course, we know 2014, where Madison Bumgarner really cemented himself as the best postseason pitcher of all time, where he appeared in 52 2/3 innings in that postseason in 2014, including 21 innings in the World Series, where he only allowed 1 earned run. And then, of course, in 2016, he had the complete game shutout against the New York Mets that knocked them out in the wild card game. He's just been so valuable to this team, not only in the regular season, but in the postseason. Like I said, it's debatable whether or not he should be in the 3 spot all the way down to 5, but because of how big he's been in the postseason, I think I gotta move him up at 3. Guy's been crazy good. Down to the final 2, you know who it's gonna be. So let's talk about Max Scherzer, who just missed out on being the best pitcher of the decade, coming in at number 2. Max Scherzer, yeah, really good. In just over 2,000 innings pitched in the last 10 years, he has a 3.12 ERA, which is the 6th lowest among starting pitchers, and a WHIP at 1.068, which puts him 4th lowest. In the 319 starts he's made, 10 for complete games, 5 shutouts, including a couple no-hitters. He's 161 and 74, striking out 2,452 batters, which is the most by almost 200 over Justin Verlander, who is 2nd. Scherzer's another interesting case because the first couple years of this decade, he wasn't good. ERA hovering right around 4. But then in 2013, when he won his first Cy Young Award with Detroit, he really has turned it around since then. He's won 3 Cy Young Awards in this decade, finished in the top 5 3 other times, including 3 top 10 MVP finishes. He's a 7-time All-Star. Of course, he won the World Series this past year with the Nationals. And if he hadn't been hurt and missed as much time as he did this season, he would be the Cy Young Award winner in 2019 as well, to give him his 4th of the decade. He's led the league in strikeouts 3 times from 2016 to 2018. He's had the best whip in the game 4 times. Max Scherzer is so incredibly good. If you told me someone you want on the mound in a big game, he's one of the guys that I'd want to see out there. All he wants to do is strike you out. Max Scherzer's so good, 2nd best pitcher of the decade, which leads us to number 1. It's so obvious who it's going to be. It's Clayton Kershaw. He is clearly the number 1 pitcher of the past 10 years. It's funny that people say Clayton Kershaw is washed based off what they saw in 2019, which, by the way, he still had an ERA at 3.03 and a whip at 1.043. Imagine calling a player washed with those numbers. That's how good he was at the beginning of the decade. It makes it seem like he's washed, but clearly that's not the case. As you can imagine, Kershaw has the lowest ERA and whip out of all pitchers in the last decade, a 2.31 ERA and a .962 whip. Unbelievable stuff. He's pitched in just under 2,000 innings at 1,996, 25 complete games, 15 shutouts. He's 3rd among pitchers in strikeouts in the decade at 2,179, and we haven't even talked about the hardware just yet. He's a 3-time Cy Young Award winner, winning in 2011, 2013, and 14. 14 also included an MVP, by the way. He's an 8-time All-Star, 5-time ERA title winner. He won the pitching Triple Crown. He's won a Gold Glove. His highest ERA of the decade was this past year at 3.03. Besides that, every other year has been below 3 for an ERA, including 3 where his ERA was below 2. Clayton Kershaw is going to go down not only as the best pitcher of this decade, but one of the best pitchers that we've ever seen play the game of baseball. He is without a doubt the best pitcher of the 2010s. I will not allow anyone to argue with me on that one. So that's my rankings of the top 10 pitchers of the 2010 decade. I would love to know what you guys think about it down in the comment section below. Did I rank someone wrong? Did I miss someone out on this list? Give me your thoughts and opinions down below. I'm going to be looking at comments, responding to them today. Remember to leave a like on this video if you did enjoy it. A lot of time, a lot of research, a lot of editing put into this. So if you did enjoy it, you want to see more of this content, leave a like as well as subscribe to the channel so that when I do make this content, you don't miss out. It just pops up right on your YouTube feed. And that's going to wrap up today's video. I really enjoyed making this. I'm going to do it for every position for the 2010s. So make sure you keep an eye out for those in the coming days. You know the drill. YouTube recommends you watch this video right here as well as this is my most recent upload. So click through those if you have not yet watched them. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I will see you guys all tomorrow for another one.